Hey there, welcome to MEA Worldwide. I'm your host, Elena Jordan, and today I am sitting down with Karen David. Hello. Now, you play Grace on Fear the Walking Dead, and this week's episode called Today and Tomorrow, which could have just been called like the end of times for me. I know you can't confirm or deny, but will we see more from Grace?
Well, there's 2 episodes left, and that kind of gives me hope. That gives me hope.
You are absolutely incredible, and this interview gives me hope.
On a show like this, too, where people just drop like flies, like they're just people dying left and right, and you're given this script that says, okay, you have all of this character growth for Morgan, which, first of all, anytime anybody on the show is happy, I was like, Morgan, don't get too happy. Don't get too happy with Grace. You're going to curse her. And then finding out that you have this sickness, what was your initial reaction reading it in the script?
I mean, when I first came onto the show, our showrunners Ian and Andrew told me, they said, first of all, there's no magic carpets in the apocalypse, because Ian and Andrew I knew from Once Upon a Time, and so they keep teasing me about that. And I was like, what? No shiny crowns? I mean, a magic carpet would come in so handy.
And that would definitely come in handy in the
I'm like,
apocalypse.
darn. But they mentioned that, and they keep teasing me about it. And then they also said that Grace has been exposed to like huge amounts of radiation. I mean, we're talking Chernobyl levels. So there's no question about it that her symptoms are going to show up at any point. So we all knew from the get-go that her clock is ticking. It's just a question of when. When are these symptoms going to start to show up? And you know, if I was doing a lot of research before I joined the show, I had only a few days turnaround to bond with the character, which was exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, because it was the first time for me to join an established show as a series regular where they've set very much the pace. And so you're just kind of hoping, like it's like skating on ice for the first time. And I just told Lennie and Alicia, because they were my 2 scene partners that I was going to be working with in the beginning, that I'm just going to brain fart all over and I'm going to be sliding all over, but I will find my balance and we'll all be good, you know? And they were so great about it. Grace is just very much, we see her at the beginning, she's very resolute, she's very much, I wouldn't say at peace, she's just accepted the fact that she's going to die. And if Chernobyl was anything to look at in my research, a lot of people that were affected by radiation in that area, symptoms could come up instantly, or it could happen in a couple of weeks or a month, or it could be, if they were developing cancer, that could happen over a span of 4 to 5 years. So you just don't know. So I think it's the not knowing that can be so scary, and certainly was for Grace in the beginning. And then when she makes that huge jump and decides after the shopping mall episode that it's almost better if she doesn't know. Because if she doesn't know, then that sort of allows her a chance to dare to live or think beyond today. And so, ironically, I know.
Now, you mentioned Chernobyl. Did you watch the series for inspiration?
And the funny thing is, because at the time of my casting, I didn't know that there was going to be a show like that coming out. So we'd finished my introduction episode, and I was already doing research on Chernobyl, and it was so haunting. It was so haunting to see all the images of a place where life existed, memories, moments, you know, milestones that, you know, people lived in this area, and to see it just derelict and inhabitable. Is that inhabitable?
Yeah,
that's like.
And able to be inhabited, yes.
And just knowing that there used to be life there, and it was so different, and now how it's just gone from light to darkness, it just broke my heart. And I took that with me right from day one when I set foot on set, because the gravity of the seriousness of the situation, and Grace being full of remorse of her choices that she made at the nuclear plant that affected so many people that she cared about, and who she worked with, and just to see them go one by one, 10 at a time, or just all at once. I mean, I don't even know how one copes with such great loss like that. And I think that's why she bonded so much with Morgan, because both of them especially, I mean everyone, all the characters essentially that she meets in the group have all experienced great loss. And I think that's when she realized, no, she's not alone. And it might be actually healthier for her to open up about it and allow herself to be vulnerable a bit. Because up until this point, she's been so focused on, no, I've made a huge, massive mistake, and because of me, there have been an insurmountable amount of loss of lives, and she can't bring them back. She can't change the past, but what she can do is to make sure that no one makes the same mistakes that she did, and to make sure that no one from the immediate group or anyone else is affected by her mistakes.
And we do have this one beautiful moment in this episode, though, and I have to ask you about this too, because we get this Salazar and Grace separation, which we then lead to this musical number, which is absolutely hauntingly beautiful. You are, of course, an established musician, and Ruben Blades, one of the all-time legends in Latin America. Be honest, did you know from the beginning that you guys were going to be paired up at some point to sing, or was this as big a surprise to you as it was to us?
Oh no, not at all. Like, because they kind of keep the scripts back from us a bit because they want an element of surprise, which is great and exciting for us. So literally, when we get the scripts before we're going to shoot, it's like, oh my gosh. Every flip of the page, you're just like, oh, what? Oh, what? And I had always, I mean, Ian and Andrew knew that I love singing, and they know of Gallivant and all that. And
I love you on Gallivant.
I just,
so funny and amazing.
That was such an amazing chapter, you know. I'm so glad shows like that happen. I'm digressing, but it was just a magical time, which I'm so grateful for. And ever since then, any excuse to break out into song. And I was actually teasing Ian and Andrew. I was like, well, you know, anytime that, you know, Lennie, because Lennie sings on set. Lennie sings in between takes all the time.
We've seen Morgan
and
sing on
he's
shows
good.
too. Yeah,
he's good. And I would keep teasing Lennie, saying, you know, I think Morgan should like serenade Grace. And he's like, absolutely not. I'm like, why? He's like, because I don't sing. I'm like, you do sing in between takes. I mean, we could go through a season 5 discography of songs that Lennie sings, and it's always a different song each day. And it's like an earworm, it gets in your head, and then everyone's singing it. I'm like, but you do sing, so why can't you just sing when the cameras are rolling?
So do you think you kind of willed this duet with? I
don't know, but I got him on a carousel. Right? I got him on a carousel, so I feel like that's a big triumph. And to see Morgan smile,
yes,
it was just so, it's magical. And I just feel so blessed that we've been given such, really spoiled with these amazing moments with different characters. And I didn't know that I'd be paired up with Ruben down the road, and I was so excited when I read the script, and I called Ruben and I said, yay! And then on top of that, to get to sing with Ruben, first of all, I was kind of going into a mad panic, freaking out, because I've never played guitar before, and I've always wanted to learn, but I've never had the time or, you know, to pick it up. And so this is a catapult for me to start learning.
How long did you have between getting the script?
2 weeks.
And you had to learn guitar in 2 weeks.
So we hadn't received the script just yet, but they gave me a heads up that they're like, Karen, we're thinking that Grace will play guitar. And I was like, wait, what? And they're like, Grace will play guitar. I'm like, how good a player is Grace was my first question. And how much time have I got? And what song is it? And so they told me it's Traveling Wilburys, Under the Line. And I mean, gosh, talk about legends in one group. And I was like, great, just choose a legendary song, singing with a legendary singer like Ruben Blades. So they said, you've got a couple of weeks. So my husband happens to, because my husband is a songwriter producer and his main instrument is guitar. He's a virtuoso. And so I called him literally panicking, freaking out, saying, oh my gosh, you have to teach me how to play guitar. And he's like, whoa, how long have you got? I was like, a couple weeks. He said, well, which song is it? And I told him. So every day he was teaching me, and he was a great teacher, very patient and very kind, and
So
you know,
the couple who plays
because you
together.
never know, right? If it's like your family teaching you driving lessons, right? When you, like your dad or your mom, they're like, no, don't do that. And so I was kind of worried that it would kind of be like that with him teaching me guitar, but he was so patient, and he was having a laugh. He was really tickled. But if you saw I was videotaping each stage of learning, and if you saw me on the first day, you guys would be just laughing so hard, because I was like, I was like, my fingers don't even reach that way. But I got it in 2 weeks. I was practicing I had calluses and everything, and I was strumming away, and now I'm learning guitar, and I'm enjoying it.
You picked up a new skill.
I know.
love it.
I'm loving it, and I told Ian and Andrew, I said, well, in case, well, if she lives or if she doesn't, whatever you guys decide. There's 2 episodes left. She can play a bit more. I wasn't sure if they wanted me to play a bit more, so I just kept it up, and I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Traveling Wilburys, this iconic group that is composed, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison. If you could create your own supergroup that you were a part of, which icons would you want to be in your supergroup that you get to perform with?
That's an amazing question. Oh my God, where do I start?
Because you're no stranger to touring. You're in the touring production of Bombay Nights. You did Mamma Mia. Like you know about the touring lifestyle. But if you could tour with legends in a band, which would be your top 4 to throw in with the group with you?
Does it matter if they're alive or not?
It doesn't matter. They could be alive or dead. Much like Grace at this point. This whole we don't know.
Prince? God rest his soul. God, that would just be phenomenal. Amazing. I'd just be like, okay, yes, love you. David Bowie. David Bowie would be amazing. Because we're talking so much, I gotta throw some females in there. But I noticed that they're all past, so.
That's okay.
Because I love Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin, oh. See, I would buy all the albums from this super group.
Franklin, and I should choose someone who's alive, preferably now. Let me think. Adele.
Adele, oh! What would you guys be called?
So it's what? That's the 4 of us, right?
That's 5.
5. Prince, who do I say? Prince?
David Bowie, Aretha Franklin, Adele, and you.
Okay, so the 4 legends minus 1.
4 legends minus 1. I love
4
it.
legends and a human.
Now, I have to say, you have also kind of, I would like to say, willed into existence a role for yourself, because you did release in 2009 an EP called Magic Carpet, and then in 2016 was cast as Princess Jasmine. So how did that come about? Did that have any relation at all? Were you also by the way, when you were auditioning?
I got teased about that a lot. They're like, you sang a song called Magic Carpet, right? And I was like, I know. And I had no idea that years later, I'd be playing Jasmine. It's still a surprise to me now, even, because it's such an iconic character. We all have our Disney characters that we grow up with, that we love so much. And I had a really, really bad acne problem. So when I was a little girl, I'd say about from 11 to 16, it was pretty bad. And I'm not talking one zit. It was like an infestation all over my face. And kids could be so mean. Now I can laugh about it. But and one good thing that did come out of it was learning such a valuable lesson of treating other people the way you would want to be treated. And kindness, that's a big thing for me, and because I was bullied in school. So I never thought, if anyone had told me then that years later that I'd be playing Jasmine, I never would have believed it. So when I see other kids or teens, going through, because puberty, oh my God, It's so hard. It's not easy. I'm kind of glad that chapter's done and over with now, but it's something we all have to go through. And when I see them going through what they are, and I get asked questions all the time about how to deal with peer pressure, especially in today's day and age where it's such a comparative culture with social media. So I try to turn my social media into something good, into something positive, you know? Like, it's okay to cry.
I love
It's
that.
okay to be, it's better to get your feelings out and express yourself than to keep it all trapped in. It's good
That
to
makes me
talk.
feel good because I cry a lot walking Fear the Walking Dead.
I'm the biggest sop. And I don't know if it's like, as each year goes by, as we get older, it's like, oh my God, I've become more and more of a sop. And working with such great actors like Lennie James, I mean, the whole cast is so good. And when I watch the episodes too, I'm like ugly crying all the time because they're just such meaningful relationships between the characters and just about survival. And I'm so inspired by the kindness and the camaraderie of the group and their willingness and wantingness to want to help totally people, you know, total strangers that they don't know. And I think we need to see more of that, especially in today's day and age, you know, to help people. It's just nice to know that. I know there's a lot of horrible things that can happen around the world, or that does happen, but it's good to know that there's good people out there, and that kind of gives me hope. That gives me
You are
hope.
absolutely incredible, and this interview gives me hope. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, but I can't wait to see more from you, hopefully, on Fear the Walking Dead. And then, of course, more in the future. Thank you again so much for joining us.
You guys are so much fun. I love it. And I love
That we're color coordinated.
Yes.
Look,
Matchy.
you got a bit of the, you know, the rouge and everything too. I'm liking it.
So be sure to check out more of our interviews on MEA Worldwide, MEAWW.com. We'll see you guys next time.